Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing something a bit different, really special. We're diving deep into one person's life story, looking at it through the lens of, well, karma and spiritual insight.
Exactly. We're working from an original audio recording, a case study, basically.
Yeah.
It details this individual's life experiences, some really tough times, complicated relationships, and then offers these profound karmic explanations for why things happened the way they did.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. So our mission today is to pull out the key insights from this narrative. We want to help you understand those, hidden connections, cause and effect across lifetimes. And importantly, we also want to clear up some common misconceptions, especially around spiritual merit and how it gets transferred. Get ready for some hopefully real aha moments.
Definitely. There are some big clarifications in here.
Okay, let's start unpacking this family history. First up is the subject's grandfather. He was known locally as Tiger Kitsad.
Right. And the source describes him as a pretty notorious local gangster. Had a lot of influence, but also really fearsome temper. Apparently got violent, especially when drunk.
And here's a wild detail. His surname, Kitsad, it was actually banned from civil service because it was so infamous.
Yeah, that's incredible. It meant the subject's father had to change his own name just so he could become a teacher.
Which the grandfather hated, right? Resented it deeply. The source even mentions him chasing his son with a knife when he was drunk over it.
Yes. But what's really interesting, karmically speaking, is how he died. Despite this violent life filled with, anger and theft, he died from drinking too much, but apparently without any suffering.
Without suffering, how?
Well, the explanation given is a past life merit. In a previous life, he donated medicine to the poor, and that specific good deed ripened just at the moment of his death, easing his physical passing.
Wow. But that didn't affect his afterlife destination.
No, not his immediate one. His dominant karma from this life, specifically Thek sent him straight to Mahanarok Kum 2. That's one of the major hell realms. Kum 2 relates specifically to suffering tied to theft.
And could he receive merit sent by the family?
Not immediately. He was apparently too deep in his suffering, couldn't even feel anger towards his son at that point. But the merit our subject sent is waiting for him. It's like it's held in reserve until he eventually works through enough negative karma to be receptive, likely when he reaches Yamalok later on.
So a moment of grace at death from past good, but the overall weight of his actions determined his destination. That's complex.
Okay, what about the grandmother? Her story starts dramatically, too. She was snatched by the grandfather.
Yes, that's how the source puts it. Quite a way to join the family. But her own nature was described as the opposite of his. Very kind, charitable, always going to the temple, even staying overnight for holy days. She eventually died of old age.
So, a kind, devout woman, did she have a better afterlife outcome? Well, it's another example of karmic complexity. Despite her kindness and devotion, she didn't go straight to a heavenly realm. She went to Yamalok, sort of an intermediary spiritual realm, and became a female officer, a kumpantee,
An officer? Doing what?
involved in punishing hell beings. The reason given was her karma, from assisting her husband in his robbery activities. Even if she wasn't actively robbing, her association and assistance created this specific karmic result.
So complicity, even if passive, has consequences.
Exactly. But importantly, her Buddhist merits were strong enough to prevent her from being reborn as a hell being herself. That's crucial. And the merit our subject sent for her definitely helped.
How did it help her?
It reduced her duties as a kumpantee. Instead of working year-round, her duties were apparently cut down to just 6 months a year, giving her 6 months of rest. So merit eased her situation significantly.
That really underlines the subtle ways karma works and how merit can help. Okay, let's shift to our subject's own life. Her childhood sounds incredibly difficult right from the start.
Yes, very much so. She lost her mother when she was only 5 years old. The mother died during childbirth with her third sibling, and tragically the baby died too.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. And then?
Then, from age 5 to 10, she lived with her stepmother, and it sounds like a life of constant chores. Waking up early, working all day around the house, just a really hard time for a young child.
Is there a karmic explanation given for these early trials?
Yes, the source links the mother's death to her own past karma specifically. Karma from having abortions and also from killing large pregnant animals for food in a past life.
And the subject's own difficult childhood.
That was attributed to her own past karma of killing young animals. So these early hardships were ripening effects of past negative actions.
What happened to her mother in the afterlife? Did the merit help her too?
It did. Initially, the mother became a lower-level Bhumadeva, that's like an earth-dwelling spirit or deity. But after receiving merit from our subject, her daughter, her condition improved significantly. She became a higher-level Bhumadeva, appearing more youthful and radiant.
That's good to hear. It shows merit really can make a difference. Now, the subject also had a sort of spiritual detour, didn't she?
She did. From about age 11 to 17, she went to a Christian school. During that time, she was persuaded to convert to Christianity.
How did her family react?
Her father was strongly against it. He apparently scolded her quite severely about it, and eventually she reverted back to Buddhism.
And this connects to a past life pattern.
Yes, according to the source. In a previous existence, she had been building merit with what's referred to as the group, a specific spiritual community or lineage. But she felt slighted somehow, got disheartened, and left to follow other beliefs for a while before eventually returning.
So this pattern of leaving and returning just replayed itself in this lifetime.
Exactly. The old pattern just manifested again.
Okay, now this leads to a really pivotal, almost strange incident and a major clarification. Can you walk us through that?
Right. So one day, the subject was playing cards with friends. Suddenly, she starts yawning uncontrollably for a long time. Then she feels this pressure on her throat, and she just starts crying, sobbing, really, for about half an hour, completely unable to stop.
Wow, what was happening?
A friend who was there, who perhaps had some insight, identified it as her deceased mother's spirit entering her.
Her mother's spirit.
Oh.
And the mother communicated.
Yes, and this is the crucial part. The mother, through the subject, claims she wasn't receiving the merit being sent because the subject was using the wrong surname. She was using her father's adopted surname, not her mother's birth surname.
The wrong name, that sounds like something people worry about.
Exactly. And the mother also appeared, presumably in the friend's perception or maybe the subject's inner vision, looking emaciated and pregnant, reflecting her abortion karma.
So the mother blamed the surname for not getting the merit.
She did. But this is where the profound clarification comes in from the spiritual expert in the source recording. The expert stated very clearly, the mother's suffering and her inability to fully feel the merit at that moment were due to her own negative karma, primarily the abortion karma. It had nothing to do with the surname used.
Nothing. So the name doesn't matter.
Not in that way.
Yeah.
The expert emphasized that intention is the absolute key in transferring merit. As long as you intend the merit for a specific person, even if you just visualize their face clearly without saying any name at all, the merit will reach them.
So the mother was mistaken.
Yes. Her suffering state clouded her understanding. She wrongly concluded the surname was the issue, but it was her own karmic obscuration preventing her from fully appreciating the merit already sent. This is a huge point. Focus on your clear intention, not on worrying about exact names or spellings.
That is a really important clarification. Intention over specifics. Okay. The narrative continues with more tragedy, sadly. The subject's father.
Yes, her father died relatively young at 45. He was drinking, crashed his motorcycle into a cart carrying sugarcane. The way it happened was quite horrific. Sugarcane stalks apparently impaled his eye and windpipe. He died instantly.
Oh my goodness. And the karmic explanation for such a violent end.
It was described as a combination of factors. Past life karma, in a previous life, he'd been a gangster and had killed an enemy. That created the potential for a violent death. This combined with his present life karma of drinking alcohol, which acted as the trigger or condition for that past karma to ripen in that specific, tragic way.
And his afterlife.
Also severe. He ended up in Mahanarak Kum 5. The suffering described there as being force-fed molten copper, which is directly related to the karma of consuming alcohol.
Kum 5. Another specific level of hell. Has he received any merit?
He has received some, yes, but like the grandfather, the source indicates it's not yet enough to free him from that particular suffering realm. It might be mitigating things slightly or waiting for him, but he's still experiencing the direct consequences of his actions.
It's just relentless, isn't it? And the misfortunes didn't stop there for the subject. There was an issue with inheritance.
Yes, another blow. After her father's death, her stepmother apparently tricked the subject and her sister. She got them to sign some blank papers, which she then used to essentially steal their inheritance over 100 rays of land. That's a significant amount.
That's terrible. Just pure deception. How is that explained karmically?
This was linked back to the subject's own past life karma. In a previous life, she herself had cheated relatives out of their land inheritance.
So, like, attracts, like, what goes around comes around.
Very much, yes.
Yep.
That past action created the karmic condition for someone to cheat her out of land in this life. It wasn't necessarily the same specific relative from the past life doing the cheating now, but the karma ensured the experience of being cheated out of land would happen to her.
Wow. It really makes you consider the long-term echoes of our actions. Okay, moving on to her relationships. Her first husband.
Right. After leaving, presumably the difficult situation with her stepmother, she met her first husband, who was a ticket seller. She got pregnant with his child.
And then
He abandoned her. Literally just hours after their son was born, he left her for another woman.
hours after the birth. That's incredibly cruel.
Yes. And the source details a moment of absolute despair for the subject. Holding her newborn son, abandoned, she actually contemplated killing the baby and then herself.
Oh, no.
But then she saw the tiny heartbeat in the baby's chest. And that visual, that sign of life, stopped her. She couldn't go through with it. Eventually, she fled with her son when he was about 3 months old.
Thank goodness. What about the husband? His karma for that abandonment and promiscuity.
He ended up in Mahanarok Kum 3. Again, a specific realm, this one tied to sexual misconduct and promiscuity. The suffering described is quite graphic narratable, the Hell Wardens, tormenting him by dismembering his reproductive organs.
Intense. And like the others in Mahanarok, can he receive merit?
Not yet. Not while he's in that deep state of suffering. But again, any merit sent is waiting for him, likely in Yamalak, should he eventually get there.
Okay. And then there was his second husband.
Yes. After she moved to Bangkok, she met husband number 2. He was described as an ex-Navy man who had also been a gangster. He'd apparently killed many people and had a lot of enemies as a result.
Another violent connection.
Yes. He eventually retired from whatever he was doing, and he persuaded the subject to move back with him to Nakhon Pathom. But his past caught up with him there. She was later beaten to death.
Beaten to death
Oh,
due to his past.
yes. His afterlife reflects this. He went to Mahanarok Kum 1, which is often associated with the karma of killing, particularly killing humans, due to quarrels or anger in this life. His suffering there is being constantly beaten with hot iron clubs.
And merit for him.
Same situation. Cannot receive it directly yet in Mahanarok, but it waits for him in Yamalak.
So much suffering tied to these relationships, but then things took a very different turn with her third husband, right?
A completely different story, yes. A friend helped her move to Norway. Quite a change of scene. And there, she was introduced to her third husband, who was Norwegian.
And he was different.
Completely. Described as very kind, a Christian man who loved her very deeply. They didn't have children together. But sadly, he eventually developed terminal prostate cancer and was suffering a lot.
That's difficult. How did she support him?
Well, using her own Buddhist background, she encouraged him to try meditation, to think of the Buddha even though he was Christian, and importantly, to make a wish, an aspiration, to be reborn as a Buddhist in his next life if possible.
And did he? A Christian man?
Remarkably, yes. He agreed to it. He must have felt her sincerity or perhaps was just open due to his suffering.
Then something quite extraordinary happened before he died.
Yes, really extraordinary. About a week, maybe 8 days before he passed away, the subject was meditating. And she clearly heard 2 male voices. They seemed to come from the ceiling area.
Voices. What did they say?
They correctly stated her husband's full name and then said he would be taken on December 28th. They gave the exact date.
Wow. And did he die on that date?
He did. December 28th, 2547 in the Buddhist era, which corresponds to 2004. It actually fell on Christmas Day that year. He died exactly as predicted.
That's incredible. And there were other experiences after his death.
Yes. For about 7 days after he died, she felt his presence very strongly. She'd feel the bed dip beside her, as if he were lying down. At one point, she felt her wrist being held quite firmly.
Was she scared?
She eventually got scared, yes.
Yeah.
She spoke out loud, told him she loved him, but that his presence was frightening her, and asked him to please stop. And after she said that, the sensation released.
Okay, so what's the insight here? What happened to him? Was that really him visiting?
Yes, the source confirms it was him visiting. Because of his love and attachment to her, combined with his own merits, he was described as compassionate and charitable. During his life, he was reborn as a good celestial being, a Brahmateva, which is a type of diva or god, in a relatively high realm, still within the sphere of sensuality, but quite elevated.
A celestial being. Wow, so he didn't go to a hell realm.
No, quite the opposite. His kindness, compassion, and the merit he made, plus the merit the subject sent him, which he could receive, led to a very positive rebirth. The merit increased his celestial happiness and lifespan.
What about the cancer? Was that karmic?
Yes, it was explained as residual karma from past actions, specifically some animal killing combined with past promiscuity karma ripening together in the form of that specific illness.
And his Christian birth. You mentioned she encouraged him to aspire to be Buddhist.
Right. His being born Christian in this life was linked to not having consistently made merit within Buddhism in past lives, and not having made a strong aspiration to be reborn Buddhist. But, crucially, because of the subject's guidance at the end of his life and his agreement, he now has the karmic conditions set to potentially be reborn as a Buddhist in a future life.
That's powerful. And the voices she heard predicting his death, what were they?
They were described as area officials or of the spiritual realm, basically like administrators dealing with the accounts of life and death. She overheard them discussing his case, his account coming due, because she happened to be meditating in a state where her mind, her consciousness, briefly aligned or tuned into their frequency.
Like tuning a radio to the right station at the right moment. Amazing. So, despite all the earlier hardships, our subject seems to have built a lot of positive momentum herself.
Absolutely. The source makes a point of highlighting her own consistent merit-making later in life. For a period of 3 years, she offered alms food to 2 monks every single day. She also donated 200 baht to each monk daily, so 400 baht per day.
That's substantial and very consistent.
Yes, and that consistent stream of goodness is directly linked to her finding more comfort, stability, and well-being in her later life. It shows how dedicated practice can really shift the balance.
So, looking at her whole life story, the overall picture is what?
It's a clear illustration of karma. The early hardships were the ripening of past negative deeds. But her turning towards goodness, her consistent merit-making later on, fundamentally changed her trajectory and brought about ease and comfort. It shows you're not just stuck with past karma, present actions matter immensely.
And what about her children? Are they connected to this spiritual path?
Yes, the source mentions her 2 sons and daughter have also made merit with the group in past lives, although perhaps not continuously like she might have.
And her connection to the group now, mainly through watching DMC, the TV channel or online platform associated with the Dhammakaya temple. What does that signify?
That's seen as the beginning of her active reconnection in this lifetime. It's the starting point that, according to the insights, will eventually lead her to meet the group directly again in this life.
So the final message seems to be about perseverance and doing good.
Very much so. The encouragement is to build all kinds of merit-giving, precepts, meditation, fully and continuously. And to make the aspiration, the wish, to follow the group towards enlightenment, aiming to be what they call special bodhisattva disciples, so as never to be separated from that path across lifetimes.
This has been quite a journey through one life, but with such universal lessons. We've seen karma's intricate dance, how past actions echo, how present intentions can reshape things. That clarification about merit transfer intention being key is huge.
It really is. And seeing how connections persist, whether it's family waiting for merit or a loving husband visiting from a celestial realm, it broadens your perspective on life and death, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It leaves you wondering, as we reflect on this incredibly detailed account, what hidden patterns, what karmic threads might be subtly shaping our own lives right now.
And maybe more importantly, how can the intentions we set today, the actions we choose now, actively sculpt a better reality for ourselves and others, both in this life and beyond?
Powerful thoughts to ponder. We hope this deep dive has given you valuable insights into these profound dynamics. Thanks for joining us.